Ms. Myers, you have brought your mother, Ms. Madrigal, to court today because you claim she has no idea who your biological father is. You say your mother gave you a list of 13 possible men, and you are hoping to determine who your father is today. The court has located 2 of the 13 men and has already ordered paternity tests to be administered. Ms. Madrigal, you admit to having a laundry list of potential fathers, but hope today answers your daughter's lifelong question. Now, Ms. Myers, what were the circumstances that started your search for your biological father?
When I was 13 years old, I had a father figure in my life, and he died at that age. And, you know, when he died, I needed closure. I needed somebody to be there.
And so at 13 years old, how did you find out that there were potentially 13 different men that could be your father?
The list came from my mom telling me over approximately a year, maybe a little longer. She would always just say, you know, here's a name, you know, and I think to her it seemed like it was a joke.
Okay, Ms. Madrigal, as you're giving your daughter this list, and I do not mean this in a joking way,
right?
You couldn't narrow it down from 13?
You know, the 13 that she's named is like 13 ghosts, fabricated.
What about Pick Any Man in Seattle?
You made
so
that
where
joke.
Does this Pick Any Man in Seattle?
Hold on, because any friend that she met of mine, a guy friend, she'd ask him, were they her father? Really, are you serious? So my thing is this, when she'll say, oh, is he my dad? I'll say, I don't know, could be anybody in Seattle, since she thinks that's what it is, absolutely.
When you're to a point
it
where
could be this guy right here.
Raised upon,
really.
Ms. Myers, in your statement, you say that your life without a father has been extremely difficult. Please explain.
I feel lost. You know, I feel confused. I don't know who I am. I don't know my heritage. I don't know what I'm completely mixed with. I don't know where I came from. I don't know nothing.
You came from me.
Yeah, I knew you're half of the family, but that's only half the story.
Nobody else matters.
That's only half the story.
Can't no man raise me better than you can, even though it doesn't even matter.
You raised
so save it.
You
save
raised
it.
me?
Oh, I raised you.
No, you didn't.
I raised you.
You weren't
Monica,
even there.
stop
So
it.
anyways.
Ms. Myers, you claim that you left home when you were 15 years old.
Yeah, I did.
Why is that? Why?
I didn't want to be around her.
You didn't get along to this degree even when you were 15 years old?
Worse than this. It's even worse than this. The only reason why I'm even somewhat civil with her is because I have an ex that used to preach to me all the time about having to be close to my mom, and I wanted to be right with God. So therefore, for God. She won't even
That's
allow.
a good one. Use God. You damn devil. Use God.
Ms. Madrigal, you do admit that there were multiple partners at the time that Ms. Myers was conceived?
Of course, but you got to realize I was 17. So any calculation within that time, I could have been way off and not known. Because by the time I found out, I was 4 months pregnant with her. You see what I'm saying? So there could be a list of whomever. It's the timing. It's in the timing. Okay,
the list that is missing out of my diary.
Really, Monica?
Yeah,
the list that you fabricated, the 13 ghosts you got in the book.
Where's it at? It's gone.
You know, ask your brother. Ask your brother.
What is that diary you're holding up?
That's my diary that I've had since I was 13 years old. That's where I started my list, is in that. And all of a sudden, my pages are missing.
Hold on.
She had to bring it out here.
Okay, we've got to figure out whether 2 of the men that the court has identified is, in fact, Ms. Myers' father. Your statement to the court says that you've met the 2 out of the 13 that the court has administered tests to, Mr. Keith Mccraney and a Mr. Derek Smith. You smiled at one or both of those names?
It's an evil smile and a happy smile.
An evil smile and a happy smile. Well, who's the evil smile for?
Keith.
Keith. So I take it we don't care for him.
I don't like him. I hate him with a passion.
Mr. Mccraney, thank you for coming to join us and submitting to the paternity testing. I want to ask you first, you do know Ms. Myers' mom, Ms. Madrigal.
Yes, I did.
Please state how you met her.
You know, we got together, she came over, she told me she thought I was sexy, whatever, good looking. Okay, we had sex, it was a 3-minute thing. You know, 3 minutes? 3 minutes.
She confirmed it. He swore to tell the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Okay. So, how did you find out that Ms. Madrigal was pregnant?
I did not know she was pregnant, Your Honor. I'm walking downtown Seattle where we live. I see her and the baby at the fountain. I said, oh, cute baby, who is she? She said, my daughter.
And you giggled?
Yes, yes.
Why?
I couldn't believe it, you know, 3 minutes. I understand it doesn't take that, but...
So you
only takes 2
instantly
seconds to
knew
get pregnant?
that it was your 3 minutes of fame that had gotten her there?
Well, Your Honor,
That's not how it
I also found out, Your Honor, that when she left my house, she went to another man's house.
Sure did.
And the same thing happened the same day.
That was the plan in the first place.
The same day.
Yeah. This wasn't planned. Keith and I weren't planned. That's what I'm saying. My friend was
Your
going
Honor,
there to meet up
her
with his
and the
cousin.
same friend
That's
that
how
was
it
at my
happened.
house was at his house.
Right.
That's how I know it was the same day.
Right.
We realize now that Mr. Mccraney is not the man that you would like to be your father ultimately.
No.
We do have another gentleman here that has also submitted to the paternity testing. And at this time, the court would like to hear from him. Jerome, if you could please escort Mr. Derek Smith in, and Mr. Mccraney and Ms. Vernon, feel free to have a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Derek.
Mr. Smith, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good,
Thank
Judge.
you for joining us. We're really glad that you could be here today, and we appreciate you submitting to the DNA testing because this court realizes that you are one of 2 men here today that we've identified that could potentially be Ms. Meyer's father. You do feel it's a possibility that you could be her father?
I mean, I think we look a lot alike.
Do you see the resemblance? Do you see it?
I see
Well,
it right
we both
here,
have big
standing
foreheads,
right
kind
here.
of.
You know, I think we've heard enough, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to find out the results.
Yeah, it is.
When it comes to Miss Monica Myers, Mr. Keith Mccraney, it has been determined by this court that you are the father.
There it is.
Did you faint, Mr. Mccraney?
I
I don't
what?
believe that at all.
Whoa.
No. They must have got their
what?
test mixed up
You
or
are
something
the
backstage. There's no way. They must have got their test mixed up or something.
Whoa.
I don't believe that at all.
Thank you for coming back in, Miss Myers. I know you're upset.
I hate him. I hate his family, man.
Can I say something? Can I please? Monica, regardless to whatever Keith has been through in 26 years, Keith wasn't always gone through what he's gone through.
Wow.
You think I just jump in there with anybody, Ugmos or something? Come on, Keith was one of the finest people in Bellevue.
I don't care. The
Please.
family has rejected me so much that
that's
there's
true,
no rekindling the pain they've caused for me.
That's true.
I
We
don't
reject-
deserve
Keith,
none of this.
hold
I
on.
didn't deserve it from the jump.
I recognize that you have been a victim,
I had to do
but
all
it's
this
your
living by
choice
myself.
as to whether you continue to be one. Now, you came here for an answer. It wasn't the answer you wanted, but you got the answer. And from the way it looks, from my vantage point, you've got 4 people in your life right now that have said to you, our hearts and our doors are still open for this girl. Today we have the case of Covey, mother versus daughter. Miss Coe, you say you're here today because your daughter is an out-of-control teenager and she needs help. Furthermore, you claim that you have serious doubts that your daughter's boyfriend, Mr. Boyce, is the father of your 7-month-old grandson. You say Mr. Boyce has been a good father to the baby, but that your daughter has numerous sexual partners, and so he needs to know the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
You have also petitioned the court to demand that your daughter attend parenting classes. Now, Ms. Coe, you dispute your mother's claims. You say you are positive that Mr. Boyce is your baby's father and say today's results of the paternity test will prove your mother wrong. You have asked the court to order your mother to stop meddling in your life once and for all. Now, Ms. Coe, please tell the court why you're here today.
I'm here because my daughter is out of control. She has an issue with authority. She doesn't want to be told what to do, how to do, or why to do it.
Give me specific instances.
Okay. From fights at school, hitting a police officer, not once, but twice.
Hitting a police officer.
She punched a police officer twice. Twice. I get the phone call to go up to the school. I get there. I was thankful that I knew this police officer. He looks at me and he says, "This is your daughter?" He says, "I could take her to jail right now. She could have a felony."
Wow.
The officer got in the way.
In your petition to the court, you stated something about damage to your home. Please tell me that.
She made a phone call saying that I and my girlfriend had jumped on her because she still did not want to follow house rules. All I asked her to do was not disrespect the house. Don't bring the drama to the house.
I feel like that's not the truth. That's not the truth.
You brought drama to the house.
That's not
You
the
made a
truth.
phone call saying, my mother and her girlfriend just jumped on me. You come mess them up.
I said her girlfriend just jumped on me, and I did have
But that
somebody
wasn't
come
true.
over there.
She made that phone call. Them guys, they loaded up. They came to my house. They bust out every window. They busted out my car. They destroyed my house. This was 1 week before I was
That's your car?
That's my car. They broke out every window. That's my house. That's me standing on the porch trying to take a picture because now I'm upset and I'm like, you know what? I cannot believe my daughter is gonna allow this to happen.
And I couldn't believe your girlfriend jumped on me and I was pregnant. So,
She didn't
window
jump
in
on
your
you.
car?
They didn't jump. They broke out windows, car. They hit me with a brick. I got hit in the back of the head.
What?
and I also stopped them. I didn't think they was gonna do that to the house. I didn't say mess the house up. They took that into their own hands.
Zaire, I'm so disturbed by what I'm hearing right now. So, Mom, you're saying she was sleeping with multiple guys?
I know that there was someone else. Now, how many more it was, I'm not for sure. But I do know that there was someone else. So, when I find out she's pregnant, I go to the guy. I go to Larry. I say to Larry, look, as Zaire's mother, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I've got to be 100. I say you need to get a DNA test.
But as the girl, I was being real, and I said, I'm not gonna lie, but there is a possibility. This baby could be someone else. I didn't just say you're the father. I said it's a possibility because I did do something. I did mess up, and I did slip and mess around with somebody else.
So you have a boyfriend now, and that boyfriend may or may not be the father of your child.
Yes, because I did have a boyfriend, and I only messed with Larry when me and my boyfriend got into it. I went over to my best friend's house, and he was there.
So now, what I believe, and you can tell me if I'm right, Mom, you're worried now about this cycle repeating itself.
Exactly.
And I know you still love and are concerned for your daughter. You've made that clear today.
Really, because even after she had done all of that to me, I moved out to Arizona. She calls me 2 months later after I'm in Arizona. She says, Mom, I need you. I don't have anybody. She's about to have my grandson. What do we do? And then she still didn't want to do.
What do you feel? Tell me. It's
The
okay.
only rule I had for
let
her.
her speak, Mom. What do you feel, sweetie? Tell me. You needed your mom? That's okay. We all need our moms. We know that today we're here to determine the paternity of this particular child, but we also know that this child is very important to you.
Yeah, he really is.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Please tell the court about that.
I feel like from the beginning I knew it was a possibility, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying, he made me grow more, you know what I'm saying, since he been around. Because my mom, she passed away, and once I told her about it, you know what I'm saying, she just, oh, that's my grandbaby. She buying him everything. I'm like,
So your mom...
She passed away in February.
And so you're hoping today, what are your hopes?
I'm hoping that he's mine.
That's wonderful. Why, in particular, do you have doubts?
The time it happened is like we wasn't together. She was in a relationship with another guy. I I always got a rubber in my back pocket, a condom. I keep that.
Even today?
Yeah. I keep
Okay.
that. So.
Good,
I mean,
good. I'm glad to hear it.
I can't really say if I used it or not because I was under the influence, like, tough.
So you don't remember if the sex you had was safe sex?
Yes.
It wasn't.
And the
How you know?
defendant...
I know it wasn't. Because the first time, even when you wasn't under the influence, you didn't use it.
Was you drunk?
What about the first time?
Was you drunk?
What about the first time?
Was you drunk?
No.
Okay, the first time, that was something else,
Did
though.
you use one?
No.
The second time? No. The third time? No. He didn't use
I used condoms.
Not with me.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Man, okay.
You ruining his reputation right here.
Yes, I do, though. I probably ain't use them as much as I should, but that was because I was with you.
Exactly. You didn't use them on me.
Okay, but I used them
only
after
take
the
one
first time, though.
so-
No, okay. Okay.
He didn't use them.
Ms.
All
Coe,
right.
but you have told this court that you think it could possibly be Mr. Boyce or maybe someone else. Okay. When it comes to baby Christian, Mr. Boyce, you are not the father.
Yes, you are. You're his father.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you are.
I'm still his father.
You okay? I know this was not the way probably any of you wanted this to turn out, because I can see it in all of your faces.
Can I just,
Jerome, can you give him a tissue, please?
I'll just
Hug him? Absolutely.
Can I please? It's okay, Mary. It's
Absolutely.
okay. We lost everybody, but we all lost. It's okay. I am so sorry, but it's okay.
Mr. Boyce?
It's okay. It's okay.
Ms. Lindsay, you say that after years of lies from your mother and uncertainty about who your father is, you believe you finally found him.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say everyone in town, including his family, knows Mr. Dannenbrink is your father, and you intend to prove that today. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Dannenbrink,
Yes, Your Honor.
you admit to having a sexual relationship with Ms. Lindsay's mother, but say there is no way you're her biological father.
That's right, Your Honor. I met her, and we just had like a hit-and-run situation. She disappeared on me, and then we got back together again, and a couple of days later, she went her way, and it just kept on for years that way. And there's no way she could be my daughter, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Lindsay, what do you mean everyone in town knows that he's your father? What do you mean by
Your
that?
Honor, okay, so about 35 years ago, my mom does admit to having a child with Mr. Dannenbrink. And
How many years ago?
About 35, around there.
Okay.
And when I was about 16 years old, an ex of Mr. Dannenbrink's came to my house and accused me of being the child that they had had together. And when I had asked my mother about that, she told me no, that it wasn't true.
You were 16?
Yes.
And an ex of Mr. Dannenbrink's comes to your house?
Yes.
And says, you're the child that your mother had with Mr. Dannenbrink?
Yes, Your Honor.
In other words, the ex thinks you're the child that came in between her and Mr. Dannenbrink?
Yes, Your Honor.
When she said this to you, what did you say?
Well, at first I was like, what? You're wrong. There's no way. And I came to my mother and I talked to her about it, and she told me no, that he was not my father.
that another man that she had told me was my dad.
She said this other man is your father, but you'd never met that man.
No, I still haven't, so I don't know who that is.
Okay, proceed.
So about 4 or 5 years ago, we all pretty much met up again in church, and I knew that Mr. Dannebrink was the person that I had thought, or at least was accused of being the child of, but I was too nervous to approach him for pretty much rejection. And so I just left it alone. And then my mother and him had started talking again, and we became more close, I guess you would say. We lived right next door to each other, and we started having barbecues together and spent a few holidays together and things like that.
The man next door, your neighbor.
Yes.
You believe he's your biological father.
Yes.
But you've never said anything to him.
Not really.
Wow. Ms. Hampton?
Yes.
What was the nature of your relationship with Mr. Dannebrink? Were you just dating, committed?
Your Honor, this was like in the late 70s, and we dated off and on, and I was involved with somebody else, and he was involved with somebody else. 5 years ago, we met back up and started having conversation and platonic relationship. We're best of friends.
So, Mr. Dannebrink, did you know about the pregnancy?
I did not, Your Honor. She never told me that she was pregnant. She never told me I even had a child.
You didn't
Your
tell
Honor,
him you were
Your
pregnant?
Honor, I had no reason to tell him because he's not the father.
Your mother's saying that Mr. Dannebrink is not your biological father.
Right.
What leads you to not believe your mother?
The doctors did say that I was born a month early, but they also said that I was going to be a boy the entire time she was pregnant with me. So they could have been wrong. Second thing, my mom does admit to having a child with Mr. Dannebrink. Throughout my life, though, the dates have kind of changed a little bit. I remember at one time it was that she was an older sister. Then I remember at another time she was a younger sister than me. And she was stillborn at birth.
Hold on now.
Your Honor.
Wait a minute. So you've been told a story
Yes.
by your mother that she did have a child with Mr. Dannebrink.
Yes.
You were told this child passed away.
Yes, at birth.
Yes.
At
Your
birth.
Honor. Yes, Your Honor. I had a stillborn.
And was that Mr. Dannebrink's child?
Yes, Your Honor.
She never said nothing to me about that.
No.
She didn't technically lie about another brother, but she didn't tell me about another brother. She got pregnant and gave him up for adoption. It went through social media that he found me. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? You're not my brother. And I called my mom at that time and I said, I have another brother? And she's like, oh, well, I thought he died. And I was like, what? And
wait a minute, you thought he died?
It was complicated, Your Honor. I had gotten pregnant by a man that was married, not knowing that he was married. The agreement was that he was going to take the baby because I financially and mentally could not handle having another baby.
But you thought he had passed away?
Yes, Your Honor, because that's what my mother and the doctors had told me.
You have a photo that you've submitted to the court.
yes, that is his son and myself.
Do you see a resemblance?
A little bit.
Just a little?
Yeah, because I mean, I do look like my mom a lot.
Mr. Dannebrink, do you see a resemblance?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Ms. Lindsay, what's your relationship like with Mr. Dannebrink right now?
I want to say he's kind of like a father figure to a point. We kind of joke about him being my dad and me being his daughter.
How do you joke about it?
Just randomly, like people will say, oh, you guys look alike or something like that and things like that. Or he'll say, oh, good morning, my beautiful daughter or something. And I've never had that before, so that's good.
Does he know your children?
Yes, all 4 of my children. They don't have grandpas that are alive. So he has graciously told my children that they're more than welcome to call him grandpa.
Oh. In the case of Lindsay versus Dannebrink, when it comes to 35-year-old Bobby Lindsay, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Dannebrink, you are not her father.
Sorry. It doesn't matter. I consider her my daughter.
How are you feeling, Miss Lindsay? I know this was difficult for you.
Confused, but I'm happy at the same time for closure on that part.
Miss Hampton.
Yes, ma'am.
I have to ask you, do you know who your daughter's biological father is?
I still stand firm that it's another person. He would admit to photographs because he's seen photographs of her through my mother, but physically he would not admit it.